everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing awesomely. It's Mr. Minority here, coming to you with another video. A little bit of a different video this time. Unfortunately, no gameplay, so if you're looking for gameplay, sorry about that. This will be free form, just kind of some bare naked thoughts, no editing, no scripts involved. So yeah, a few things I want to address here. The first one, major one, is I attended Portland Pokemon VGC Regionals. Woohoo! And then also I will be addressing the kind of little slight controversy, kind of fun, that was on Twitter apparently while I was at that said regional. So in terms of goodies, got the regional shirt, as you can see. Unfortunately, by the time I went up to the desk, they didn't really have my ideal size. They had extra smalls, extra large, 2X, etc. So I had to just get an extra large. Doesn't fit me quite as well as when I was taking creatine, but hey, that's okay. It's a nice purple shirt. Also got an Arven trainer card. I don't play the trading card game, but there's a cool little trainer card for you. All decked out there. Also got a Koraidon playmat. They had quite a few good choices like Giratina, Regieleki, Regidrago, I think, and a few others. So yeah, I got a few dice as well and a few vouchers. So in terms of the regional, unfortunately, I wasn't going to arrive early anyway. My flight was supposed to get in a little past midnight. It got delayed a little over 2 hours. So when all was said and done, getting to the hotel, checking in and everything, I had a grand total of about 2.5 hours of sleep. So yeah, that was quite wonderful, but hey, we go on and do what we can. So in the background, as you can see, this was my team. If you guys have been following the channel, this is no surprise. I don't think there's anything I changed. Got the Gyarados with the Lumberry, the Talonflame with the Focus Sash, Amoonguss with the Quick Claw. He's had a few little tweaks here and there. Tinglu did have the Fissure, I never brought it out. Fluttermane and the Goldango. So nothing really out of the ordinary with this team. Real quick, in terms of battles, how did I do? That's probably one of the big questions that you're wanting answered. Did I suck as much as I wanted? Anyway, yeah. So my only goal was not to zero out. That is to beat one person, not necessarily to beat one round, win one round, but to beat one person. And I'm happy to say that I did that with my first battle. So actually, as soon as I won my first battle, which is the first round, although I kind of won it a little bit RNG-ish, I was really relaxed after that. I was like, I don't really care too much to, necessarily overperform, obviously, perform as much as I can to the best of my ability, but I wasn't nervous or anything. I was very calm after that. So the first match, enjoyed it. It was very close, went down to the last round. Unfortunately, I did win, with RNG. His Iron Hands against my Dragonite. He had used close combat on my Terastallized Goldango, lowered his defense. I used Waterfall, it made him flinch, and I used Waterfall, killed him. So although I did win, and that was my goal, I actually didn't feel that good after the battle. I even told him that I shouldn't have won that to his face. And yeah, I enjoyed it, but although I did get the win, I felt like could have gotten a better win. That's for certain. I felt a little bit better about myself. So I lost the next two matches. I did not deal well with Sandy Shocks. I was not familiar with him as I should be because he is not really at the top of the meta. Unfortunately, that was not a close match. He just kind of 2-0'd me. So I went 1-1, and then the third round, went against a guy. It was pretty close. I don't remember the exact details. If your guys are really curious, I could probably look it up and try to remember. But that one was a lot closer. We went down to the last round, but he eventually won. So I was down 1-2, which again, to be honest with you, I was okay with that. I mean, I had already gotten my goal more or less. But before this regional, I've been honest and said in terms of obviously my, what I'll be happy with is if I don't start out, but in terms of being honest with my ability, I have about a 50% win ratio in the Master Ball division against guys who are, in the 5,000 to 20,000 world rankings. So I would say I probably will end up maybe being realistic with a 50% win rate or so. So just keep that in mind. The fourth match, fourth round, that one was also very close. I remember, I think, going against a Dondoza and a Glomora. Won that one. So I was 2-2, and that was kind of right before lunch, so that kind of got me a little more pumped. And then round 5, won that one as well. I would like to mention the first 4 matches I lost every single first round. Even if I won the match overall, I lost the first round. So I guess that kind of shows that I'm an idiot out of the gate, but then I can kind of do a little bit of a rebound and adapt. And the fifth match was where I started to turn it around. I won 2 rounds in a row, and this is not necessarily with this battle, but around this time of day, this is where I met players who, although they were typically, I think, better in terms of the win rate as opposed win-loss ratio as opposed to some of the ones I faced before, there were a lot of questionable decisions which I hadn't seen earlier in the day, so I don't know if people were starting to get fatigued or something, but I definitely had a few decisions I saw which I was not sure what they were doing, if they were trying to do a hard read or something. For instance, switching out in the face of a tailwinding and nasty plotting a Goldengo from a Baxcalibur to a Fluttermane, for instance. So that was a very questionable decision making on multiple occasions. But won the next 2 battles, then the 6th round. So by now I am 3-2, so I have a positive win-loss ratio. I did probably my favorite tech of the day. Basically, what happened was there was a Dondoza who had Terastallized into a grass, and he had been, of course, he had Tatsugiri, so all his stats had been raised. Moongus had I had just used Clear Smog on him to get rid of his stats raised, and I had also sent out Talonflame, who had taken damage earlier from a Brave Bird to the Dondozo, but when he had all his stats up, so it didn't do that much, but I was down to maybe, I don't know, 60% health or something. So what I could have done is use Brave Bird, killed him, and then killed myself. But what I decided to do, because I knew I had some guys in the back, and he had some guys in the back who had good speed, because we had both returned, I wanted to get Tailwind up first. So what I did is I Tailwinded. My Amoonguss gave me a Pollen Puff, so I went up to the top health. I hadn't used Focus Sash yet, so when the Dondozo used Wave Crash on me, I was able to hang on with Focus Sash. And of course I had the Tailwind up now. Brave Birded him, took him out, took of course myself out at 1 HP, and then I spored the Tatsugiri and then won from there. So I won 3 battles in a row on round 6, so now I was 4-2. And then the next battle was a Rain Dance Pelipper team. And I won that one too. So now I'm sitting 5-2. This was where I was feeling, pretty happy with myself. Again, I didn't really have much expectations, so I was very pleased with myself. And then going into round number 8, I was against a player who had a kind of similar team to me. Eventually lost, but it was a good loss. If you are watching this out here, pleasure to lose to you, man. You're a really cool guy. And both of our switches were taken up right after the match to check if we were hacked or whatever. His, I think, had a little issue with one of his Tinglus. He registered, I think, like a level 76 one as opposed to a level 75 one, and they asked him, "Oh, are you switching out Tinglus between matches or something like that?" With me, they didn't say anything was wrong. They just gave it back to me after like 15-20 minutes, so I had like no time between that and the final round. So right now I was 5-3, and then so I was like, I'm probably not gonna have any chance of making a second day cut. So I was like, whatever. And then the final round did lose that one, and that one was very close. But I did make one or two bad decisions. So again, I'm not going too much into detail, just kind of going over some quick things. So I ended up at 5-4. 5-4 is how I did. So now, to address the thing that most people probably clicked on this video, all three of you, maybe two, or even four if I'm lucky, is the slight controversy. So I don't have Twitter, I'm not online really that much at all, but I heard through the grapevine that some people were talking about me at this regional. So I knew that I had screwed up the moment I tried to check in. They asked for my ID. I thought you would just like show your phone and have your player ID and that sort of thing. So I asked the person, I was trying to be pretty thorough as to what I needed to do to check in and be prepared. And they didn't mention the ID, which, that's, I guess, pretty standard fare, but hey, I've never been to a Pokemon tournament, much less, or any video game tournament. Never been to one. So, I registered as my stream name as opposed to my real name, so there was already a hiccup there. I was like, ooh, okay, when trying to check in. So I knew I'd already kind of screwed up. However, apparently there were some people talking about me on Twitter, and there were a few things going on here and there. I won't address all of them, but one of them was that there is, of course, my name is Mr. Minority, that there is a white guy who is named Mr. Minority, and yeah, he's like, he shouldn't be, named that. It's like, he's a white guy. Sorry to disappoint. I was like, that's so disappointing. What's going on? That's pretty interesting. So everyone has their own definition, right, of what a minority officially is, right? There are people out there who say if you are a 2%, white, then you're not a minority. Everyone's definition is going to vary, so I'm not trying to argue with that. But just to be clear about my ethnicity, I'm not 100% white. My dad is 100% Chinese. My mother is Caucasian, so I'm 50% Chinese. And my last name, if you know who I am personally, which I'm not, of course, going to reveal it, I'm Chinese, at least by last name. Very Chinese, very common Chinese last name. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I also grew up being, made fun of and pointed out for being Chinese, like with my eyes and whatever. And through different stages of my life, I've looked more or less Chinese, obviously, because I am mixed. And I'm not just saying this because of it's a sob story. I'm pretty proud of who I am, or proud and come to terms with it and enjoy it. But just, being transparent, because I wasn't ever asked at the tournament what my ethnicity was, and then people online already coming to conclusions, saying that he's white and all this stuff. There were multiple people saying it. I just thought it was kind of interesting, because if you look at me, I have this kind of foreign look. I'm not 100% white. But anyway, again, everyone has different definitions, right? So, that's the one thing. In terms of explaining myself a little bit more in depth as to why I chose the name Mr. Minority, there's a few reasons. Any good artist, am I accusing myself of being a good artist, would have a good multifaceted approach to a certain topic, so they're not going to have just one, meaning. It's going to have a double meaning or more. So the first definition of minority for most dictionaries is that there is like a smaller group or a smaller part of something that constitutes a whole. So in terms of me, and I kind of go through this summary on a little bit of summary on my channel description, I've always felt like I've always been in the minority with so many things, like generally speaking, politics, religion. Yeah, I've always felt in the minority with those things. But even more specific things, there's just so many things I have opinions on that I always find I'm probably in the minority. A huge call out, I'm going to say specifically, that I absolutely love, because I love so much when I call out Star Wars. I know I'm really in the minority with my opinions on that, and I'm not going to say what they are here, but yeah. So there's that. That's first and foremost. Now, obviously, there is also the definition further down, like second or third or fourth, depending on which dictionary you look at, which is what most people probably are assuming when they hear of minority, since that's a charged word, as there are many buzzwords these days that people, will kind of take one word and then run with the definition as opposed to looking it up in the dictionary and seeing that there's multiple definitions, which is the racial group. Now, I've already said what my ethnicity is. When I was choosing my name, obviously I already mentioned one of the reasons, but another one was I never felt like I was part of one group or the other. So my dad never taught us Chinese, even though he spoke it and it was his first language. Bit of a point of contention. So although I didn't grow up around many Chinese people, there were few. I never felt connected to them. I never could really, connect with them, not only because of the language, but also because he didn't teach us any of the culture or any of the things of that nature. But at the same time, I didn't really connect with other people as well, generally speaking Caucasians, other people as well, because not to go too much into details, but I was raised with a kind of Oriental Chinese sensibility. Again, I'm not going to go too much into detail. If you're Oriental, I think you know some of the kind of general things I might be referencing that are a little bit different, that again are not cultural necessarily, but kind of in the way you approach things, the way you approach life, and that sort of thing. Obviously, it's huge variations. So I'm not gonna try to say, oh, it's this way or another, but it's different. Okay, markedly different. I could tell from what my mom brought to the table as opposed to what my dad brought to the table. Okay, now obviously that's some of that's personality, but so just wanted to clear that up. So in terms of minority, I have always, again, because I didn't feel like I was part of any of these minority groups, I almost felt like I was a minority of a minority. But that doesn't really flow off the tongue that well, especially if you do the acronym minority of minority, MOM, or something like that, So when I was choosing my username, I decided just to kind of truncate it to Mr. Minority as opposed to Minority. I did have a few things like Minority of Minority Report, because there's a lot of minority reports out there, and so on and so forth, because I have a lot of opinions as well that are in the minority, I would say. Don't us all to an extent. But yeah, that would be the I would say kind of the impetus behind deciding to do that. So yeah, thank you for giving me the chance to explain myself. So the people who are online saying that I am white, well, maybe yes, maybe no. It depends on how you define it. I would like to think no, I have not. I have definitely experienced. I guess you could say, racism. I don't know. It's water under the bridge. No, that was whatever. But I'm not 100% Caucasian, definitely, if nothing else is to be said about it. So, okay, in terms of overall assessment of the tournament, now that's out of the way, really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the tournament. It is something I definitely would like to go to again, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think I will, unless there's a few things that happen. One of them is I did leave with the 5-4, so it was about half and half, which is reflective of my online at the top level. I do about 50% win rate. Top players, people who will be at the number one of each season, typically have at least around a 65-ish or so win rate ratio. So if I can get my win ratio a little higher, closer to 60, and if I think I can, make a spearhead closer to that day two cut, I'll consider it more. I'll definitely consider it. I'll definitely use my real name next time. There's no question about that. I was thinking about doing that even well before this controversy. Another thing is if the tournament is much closer. Portland is not at all close to where I am, so if it's closer, then that will kind of give me the motivation to do that. So the good thing is I know I can do damage. At a regional, I can maybe knock out guys, maybe not the best guys, because again, the cuts are probably going to be aligning the best players with the best players based on history. But I can do some damage, and that's exciting. But again, the most exciting thing was just being around people who love Pokemon. That was really cool, seeing everything. And yeah, again, bit of a different video. Hope you guys got something out of it and enjoyed it. I definitely got a whole heck of a lot out of Portland. I really enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, share, comment positively, all the good stuff. Let me know your thoughts. And I hope you guys have an awesome one. I will see you guys later.